Hello. Chapter 8, or at least episode 8 I should say, of my book Just Return. This story now is the situation where they're beginning to get a little into routine, getting used to being the only two people that they know about in the forest. And so I'll start to read. It's actually what was originally the second chapter, but it's the episode 8. Every day Belinda was getting a little stronger, and Gus seemed to have the energy of an active 50-year-old. He kept conversation fairly light through the day, and Belle sensed this and kept the more serious matters for the evenings. The food supplies from the ill-fated aircraft were still keeping them free from hunger for the present, but they both knew that unless rescuers appeared with unexpected speed, there would be a need to learn how to live more so off the rainforest. Gus busied himself with building a better wooden shelter for all the useful utensils from the plane. He was very pleased that one of the passengers was an angler, a serious one, and that he had retrieved fishing tackle and also a book with illustrations and basic information on the thousands of fish in this part of the world. The book also stated very clearly those that were harmless and those that were either unpleasant to eat or were dangerous for humans. Belle brought him a cup of coffee there at the rough shelter where he was sorting out tools and utensils, and found him sitting on a log in the doorway examining the 600-page volume. And she said, "Thinking up taking up fishing, Gus?" Glad to hear a measure of cheer in her voice, he kept it light-hearted. "I used to fish on the River Elbe as a boy. It was, of course, the river of my native home, Dresden. But Belle, you will find it fun when I fish, because I caught little then, and it will probably be 1934 since I last cast a line into the water." He hid his concern that he might not be able to supplement their diet so easily with fish. Belle sat with him and took her coffee with him. "I've been sorting too, Gus. We've got some chocolate, but it's very soft in this heat. There are some vegetables in packets and soups in things. There's plenty of tea and coffee for a few weeks, but much of what was on the plane is perishable, and especially in this heat. I could make us a reasonable meal for a week or two, and in the evenings we've still got some biscuits and chocolate. We've got some beer and some spirits and wine. Those bottles that survived while people didn't." Her pretty lips, her hazel eyes turned downward, and the sadness returned. "Well, Belinda," the aged German replied thoughtfully, "some things in life are planned. You choose a career or a hobby or a house to live in. Other things are unplanned. A war or an accident might take over our lives, taking us where we had no wish to go. But that's not all. Maybe at such unplanned and tragic times, hundreds or maybe thousands die. And like the 2 unbroken bottles of wine, we may survive against the odds. It is sad that others, that Duncan died. We've lived, and we owe it to him to see that you survive." "Gus." She gave her protector a sad smile. "Soon I would like you to take me to Duncan's grave." Gus put his hand on the girl's arm. Softly he said, "If you're up to it, we will do that in the morning before the heat gets to its worst. As long as you're sure." "Yes, Gus, I am sure. I love Duncan very much." A tear rolled down her cheek and spilled onto Gus's hand. "I must see where he's laid." Gus gripped her arm and gently wiped a tear from her cheek with his other hand. "Then bless you, Belinda, I will take you there." "Thank you." She took his hand like a little girl would her father's or a favourite uncle, and she said, "Duncan would so much appreciate your rescuing and caring for me, and so do I." Through the day they both concentrated on being more organised, arranging everything so that it could be found easily when needed. The biggest problem was going to be keeping things dry. Also insects and other life forms would be a problem. Between the tents and the old original campsite they had used for the first couple of days, there was a tree, and attached to its trunk was an army of ants about the size of a bumblebee in England. Gus was sure they would be able to bite and maybe poison too. He also knew that such creatures filled the rainforest, and anything edible was attractive to them. As was their practice, the two crash survivors sat under the insect repellent netting and talked, enjoying a packet of sweets and a glass of warm spirits. So, Belinda, what I want to know is your history. Who are you?